Hello, my name is Julia Cambage and I am the CEO of Try Australia. The unit that I'm delivering today is benefiting from corporate partnerships. What I think that you'll be able to take away from my session is that it's not easy, but it's worth it. In order to talk about benefiting from corporate partnerships at Try Australia, we always reflect on our past, on our legacy and our history as Australia's oldest social enterprise with a 135-year history. The basis for our organisation comes from making meaningful difference, and our founder, William Mark Foster, knew that 135 years ago that in order to actually make that difference, he needed to engage with those around him who could actually provide support networks. That involved creating relationships. The thread that runs through our organisation is an entrepreneurial one. He was a man who was on a mission, and we've continued that mission today with great partnerships. And that's the only way that you can achieve that. Our first partnership started in community with philanthropic relationships. And over the years, they've led to relationships with government. And now our strongest partnerships are in the corporate space. At Try Australia, what we looked to do was actually develop a support network for the disadvantaged young people that we were engaging with in our program called Try Build. Try Build came about through the escalation of a small program that we were operating through our registered training organisation. What we wanted to do was to create a platform where we could build social housing, converting shipping containers, and that was really the place that we started at. The amazing thing that happened for us was that in Victoria, the state government created what I think is the most incredible piece of policy framework that I've ever seen, which is the social procurement policy framework. What that does is it actually enables corporates to have a percentage of their spend that they can work with social enterprises with to actually then enable them to sell their products into that corporate space. So large infrastructure projects, roads, rail, all those sorts of activities now have an opportunity to spend their money in a meaningful way with social enterprise. We were probably one of the first organisations that was off the mark in that space, and that came about through our relationship with Social Traders, which is an Australian-based organisation that connects buyers with suppliers in the social enterprise space. And they arrange a number of ways for them to meet, sometimes a speed dating event, which is always exciting, where you get to meet a whole range of different corporates who are looking to actually extend their corporate social responsibility buyer frameworks. And then what would happen is that it was kind of going to peter out. So I reflected on what the needs of the organisation were at this point and made the decision that what we needed to do was actually become much more professional in our ability to sell and negotiate with those corporate partners. Our next step was to actually employ a professional salesperson, and our GM of business development role was born. That appointment allowed us to engage consistently with those buyers and then actually develop those partnerships that became critical to us actually winning business. It's not enough to step in and out of those relationships. You really must have a constant engagement methodology, and the actual professional business development role enabled us to actually meet the market in a different way and then look at how we could innovate with those corporates as well. Looking at our original offer, which was around social housing, we then started to realise that their pain points were around things like site sheds and amenities blocks and accommodations for them to be able to move around. So what we actually then developed was a response to the market need. So we're now changing the way that we're approaching the market rather than just saying, hey, look, we've got a product and it's really good and we're a really nice organisation and why don't you come and do business with us? What we're now saying is that we are a really responsive social enterprise that can actually meet your needs and make sure that you're actually getting what you need as a buyer from the relationship as well, which makes it a much more desirable relationship to be involved in. So what's actually happened as a part of those relationships is that it's enabled us to engage the young people with our corporates in a different way as well. So there are a number of layers to our delivery of what's called try-build, and that is that there are allied social enterprises that sit around that give those young people the opportunity to actually engage in paid employment. They are Rekindled, which is our bespoke timber manufacturing organisation. We also have a property maintenance division and also a commercial cleaning and outdoor maintenance division. What actually happens as a part of that process is that some of those corporate partners, such as John Holland and McConnell Dowell and Boral, actually employ our young people and actually pay them to come to site and work with them in a labour type environment. Those young people then get paid to be in that space. Those organisations have also made a commitment to working with those disadvantaged young people by actually engaging with us and going through our volunteer mentoring training program so they understand what it's like to work with young people coming from vulnerable backgrounds. So we're not just throwing young people into a commercial environment where they're actually going to be chewed up and maybe not able to cope with the environment. We've got people on the ground who know how to work with them, engage with them, and give them a valuable experience along the way as well. I know that one of our partners who went through our training for mentoring said to me later that he became a better parent as a part of that process. And I think that that's a pretty amazing outcome to have as an organisation when you're working in that corporate field as well. One of the key points in the growth of our social enterprise has been the development of the social procurement policy framework by the Victorian Government. An exciting step forward for social enterprise and an amazing way to actually enable communities to respond to their needs in a place-based way. What we've found is that we're able to develop a response to the needs of the community and actually meet the needs of corporates as well when they buy through a social enterprise. I actually think it's the mechanism for shareholder value and community values to collide. What happens is that through the social procurement policy framework, it actually feeds into all government contracts. There's a stipulation in the contract where a percentage of their spend must be with a social for-purpose organisation. What that's done is it's enabled organisations like ours to continue those discussions, to talk about the possibilities with corporates that we probably wouldn't, in normal instances, be able to actually have those conversations with, and then develop a response to what their needs are. It's actually been quite an amazing opportunity to actually scale our organisation. And the reality for what it means for us is that we've actually gone from last December basically having no push through on that particular part of the business, which is uncontained, our conversion of shipping containers, to around a 3 million push through by July. Now that's an extraordinary amount of growth for any small organisation, and we've gone from a factory that was about 1,000 square metres to now having 5,000 square metres of factory space. That's growth. The incredible benefits from the partnerships that we've been able to develop is around the opportunities that we offer our young people to actually gain employment. An example of that is Jasmine, who's a young Indigenous woman who came down from regional Victoria, who had had limited experience in the workforce, having been excluded, and had limited success in the education system. So she was coming to us from a background that was of failure, and many around her were waiting for her to continue on that path. She successfully completed the program, and not only completed the program, but McConnell Dowell, a Tier 1 infrastructure partner of ours in Victoria, was able to offer her employment. What that's meant for her community is that they have now also embraced this opportunity, and 4 more members have now actually come in to attend our next program. That is real community and societal change. And the thing that I love the most about this story is that Jasmine actually wants to be an excavator driver, and I can't wait to see it. Another great story is Lofty. He's an Afghani refugee who came into our very first program that we operated for Cert 2 in construction and building. He spoke very little English and he had no family in Australia and had been excluded from the workforce. He was very shy and withdrawn, but over the course of the program he actually found himself. And the great news about Lofty is that around 3 months ago he gained an apprenticeship to become a builder. An incredible outcome for a wonderful young man. One of the great things about Try is that we are an organisation that's been self-sustaining for a whole 135 years. And we've been able to do that through our partnerships. Our ability to provide that triple bottom line through training, employment and benevolent activities is something that's actually really quite desirable in that partnership space. I hope the takeaway from this unit is how pivotal corporate partnerships are in maintaining and sustaining and developing your social enterprise. I know that it has been critical for the success at Try Australia, and I hope that you find this unit valuable. Thank you.